Hello, you guys.
Good morning.
We are super excited to be with you guys today to talk about Nearpod. So if you're looking for the Using Nearpod in today's classroom session, you are in the correct spot. We're very excited to bring one of the things that we love, we both use as classroom teachers in the classroom, to you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and share our screen. And you guys can go ahead and join the Nearpod lesson if you would like to be a student today and play along and learn more about the platform. This is a very generic kind of session. It's nothing complicated. So if you're a Nearpod newbie, you don't have to worry about being too overwhelmed about how to use the system or how to even manage the system or use it with your students. We will kind of go through some of the basic things as well as show you guys all of the 1001 different sessions or features, I should say, across the platform. So if you're just joining us on the screen, you guys will see the code to join the Nearpod lesson. I'm going to also place the direct link in the chat box for you guys for easy access. So you guys can either go to that link or you can, of course, just go to nearpod.com, type in that code. You do not have to sign in at all. You're going to just simply type in that code and then, of course, type your name. So you can give us your full name. You can give us a nickname. It's perfectly fine. And it will have you in the system. So we have 3 people right now. 5 people, thank you, signed in right now.
It's not updated, but it's good.
Give you guys a couple of more seconds to join. If you're just joining us, once again, good morning. On the screen, as well as at the bottom in the ticker tape, you guys will see the code to join the Nearpod lesson. You guys can join it, or you can just watch. You don't have to join it if you don't want to. Of course, it makes it a little bit more interactive if you guys join live. But if you do join, you're able to interact with the different features, kind of interact with it as a student to see what your students will actually mess with and play with and interact with whenever they're in the classroom. Or if you just want to watch it live, you do have that option also. The code will continue to ticker across the bottom of the screen. So if you don't want to join right now, but you may want to join later on, that option is there. All right, I think we're good to go. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next slide. So once again, good morning. My name is Dr. Sahara Haney. I am the Curriculum Resource Coordinator for Tech Integration in the EBR EdTech team.
Good morning. I'm Nikki Washington. I'm an instructional specialist here in East Baton Rouge Parish Schools, and I'm an instructional specialist. And I'm so excited to be here, and I love being on the EdTech team. So we're glad to have you here.
All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into the presentation. So some things that you guys will learn today is what is Nearpod. So maybe you are a Nearpod newbie. You don't know what a Near or a pod is. So you want to learn more about this amazing platform that you guys have learned about, or you've heard about, I should say, how to launch it. So there are multiple ways to launch Nearpod. All of the 1,000,001 features that they have in the Nearpod system. And then hopefully this will kind of help you guys start getting those different plans, kind of tinkering in your minds of how you may use it with your students starting tomorrow or Monday or next semester in the 2021 new year. On your screen, you're going to see a poll. So if you are interacting with the Nearpod lesson right now live with us and you're inside of the actual lesson, you will have a poll pop up on your screen. This is one of the features in Nearpod. We love this feature. It's a really easy way to quickly assess your students as well as just kind of do a temperature check. It can be an entry ticket, a bell ringer, or it could be an exit ticket for your students. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit start activity. And you guys can go ahead and answer this question. So let us know, what is your experience with Nearpod? Is it A, you're a Nearpod Pro? B, you kind of dabbled in it a little bit, but you're not necessarily, a pro just yet. Or you don't know what a Nearpod is. What is that, girl? So let us know. Where do you fall on that scale? You're a Nearpod Pro, Nearpod, what is that? Or you've dabbled in it a little bit. You have about 3 more seconds. All right. So this feature, like I said earlier, is really great to use to quickly assess your students to kind of see where they may fall on different poll questions, gauge the audience if you may be a facilitator on the district level in your school district. The great thing about this, though, is you can hide their names. So over here, you guys see I have everyone's name hidden. We all know we're all former classroom teachers or currently classroom teachers. We all know that the students sometimes may be embarrassed to kind of go against the grain, right? I may have Bobby who chose an A and he doesn't want to let everyone know that he's a pro because he doesn't want everyone to harass him to ask for help. So you can hide the students' names or you can show their names. So in the bottom right-hand corner in the teacher portion, so y'all don't have that option because you're a student right now. But for me and Nikki, we do have this option down here that allows us to show or hide student names. I also love this feature over here in my little pie chart that I have. If I hit share on all of the student screens, they will receive a pop down of the pie chart. So this really allows teachers or facilitators to really start those interesting conversations, delving into who chose what, maybe why did you choose that. It's a really great launching pad to kind of build off of and to gauge your learners as well as to collaborate with them also. So I love that little feature. So I see that we have mostly, which I'm pretty surprised, we have a few that have dabbled in Nearpod. They know what it is, but they may not be at the pro level just yet. We have a few that are complete Nearpod newbies. We don't have any Nearpod pros, so I'm really surprised about that. But we're super excited that you guys have all taken the time to come and join us today, and we're going to show you all about Nearpod. So why use Nearpod? So I'm not going to read this slide to you guys, but here are a few reasons why we kind of tell our teachers in EBR why they should use Nearpod. So a little bit of background, we are in year, I think, 3 of using Nearpod. So our district, we have purchased that license for the entire school system. Our teachers love using it. We've implemented different curriculums throughout the platform also. And with Nearpod, it really allows educators as well as district staff to become the facilitators in the classroom and shutting up. Sometimes as teachers, we cannot learn how to be quiet and let the students guide their learning, think critically, collaborate, create without us interfering entirely too much. So Nearpod allows us to step back and become the facilitators in the classroom. It allows you to easily integrate technology as well as increase student engagement, real-time feedback, etc.
Okay, this is my favorite part, you guys. I like to show teachers, this is some reasons why, especially if you have teachers that are struggling with, especially during this time, how can I keep my kids engaged? What can I do with them? How can I make sure I get that engagement piece? Well, Nearpod does some wonderful things. One thing it does, the teacher will notice immediate changes in their classroom, whether they're at home or they're actually in your class. So let's go through these options. And while we're talking about this is the slideshow feature. And even though we're in live pace right now, where the teacher is in control, as a student, you're able to go through the slides. So you can use this for like gallery walks or whatever it is. So I love this feature. So let's look at the first slide. On this slide, you can see this teacher here on the left side. She's teaching a little heart out, bless her heart. And then look at those little ones in the back. They're on the floor. They are just causing ruckus in this classroom, and the teacher is really not paying attention. She's only paying attention to those kids that are paying attention in the front. We don't want to do that. We need to make sure we address all of our learners. And you can look on the right side, you can see Nearpod is going to change that. Now, all of her students are engaged, and it's going to force them, and you'll see Nearpod is going to force that engagement. Here, you see the same few students. How, y'all let me know in the chat, how many of you have ever experienced a lot, just those same few kids? You get tired of that same kid raising their hand all of the time. It's like, I want to hear from somebody else. You have those same few students. I know I used to have that all the time. With Nearpod, it's going to require all of my students to participate. They no longer will they be able to hide in the back of the classroom and not participate. It's going to require all of my students to participate. So I love that. And then here on the left side, It's going to help you transitioning from being stuck in your room or even just at that board. With Nearpod, you can roam your room, monitor, walk around, do what you want. If you want to change the scenery, go outside. And of course, we have teachers at home. They're teaching Nearpod at home to their students, and their students may be at their daycare, at their parents' job. So it really helps you transition from the classroom. You can do this anywhere and teach your students. Awesome. And this used to be me years ago, you guys, that teacher on the left. Let me know, you guys, in the chat, if you are a teacher that's burning that midnight oil, just grading those papers. Let's get rid of that practice. With Nearpod, you can build all of those formative instruction assessments into your lesson and let Nearpod do the work for you. That way you can actually spend your time doing more meaningful things like planning your instruction, what interventions you need to do for your students. And that way you're a happy teacher. You're not tired the next day. So Nearpod will definitely help you with that. And then also this engagement piece, like I said, over there to the left, these kids, I guess they're having a Christmas party over here on the left. But over here on the right, you see it's academic engagement. The students they're collaborating with each other. They're collaborating with the teacher. They're working together. And you can see that they're learning and not just having a party at school, because we do want the kids to have fun, but we need to relate it to academics. And let's see this one. And this one. How many tab hoarders do we have in the building? You have 1 million tabs, or you have 1 million different kids in your class that need differentiation. It's hard for a teacher. It's a lot to juggle. But with Nearpod, it's going to help you differentiate your learning for all of your students. It's going to be seamless. You place everything in here in one platform. That way your kids don't have to go from this site to this site to this site. Embed everything in here. Your kids will thank you. Your parents will thank you. You will thank yourself. Nearpod will really help you transition and manage whatever learning environment you're trying to maintain during these times. And even when we return back to normal, I still highly recommend Nearpod. They're still always coming up with more and more ways to engage our students and adding more wonderful features. So I am pro Nearpod. So that's just my little spiel, you guys.
All right, the basics. So we're going to kind of delve into some basics with Nearpod. So we have the partnerships.
All right. And one thing I love about Nearpod and their partnerships, they get with people that we as educators, we partner with. So we have Common Sense Media lessons already created. If your district purchases, and then I'm sure you have some for free, but you get access to the Common Sense Media lessons. And we need those at this time. Since the kids are online, they're learning. We need to make sure we're incorporating digital citizenship more than ever now into our lessons, because we need to make sure we're teaching our students how to behave, because we're literally on these devices all day now. So I love that partnership. Vocabulary, that's a fan favorite. They have partnered with Vocabulary here. So if your district purchases vocabulary already, then you'll be able to pull those into your lesson. So that's why we said that Nearpod is literally a one-stop shop. You can take all of those different tools and embed it right in here, so that your kids are not going from place to place and they don't have 1 million tabs, because that just annoys me to have a million tabs, because they can sneak and do things. They have iCivics, PhET simulations. I love PhET simulations, but I love them more for science. They do have them for math. Those are awesome, especially if you're working in a virtual environment. Max Scholar, they even have some Zumba. If you need to get up and get your blood flowing for 5 minutes, pop in a Zumba lesson. So they have some wonderful partnerships with Nearpod, and they're building on those every day.
So when logging into Nearpod, there are a couple of extra options. However, only teachers typically have accounts. So in EBR, our teachers, we are Google districts. Our teachers will go to the Nearpod homepage, and instead of typing in their credentials up here, they will come down here and click login with Google. We all love that single sign-on feature across different ed tech platforms. We're a Clever district. We also are a Google districts. So it makes it really seamless for our teachers to log in without having to remember a brand new account. Our students, on the other hand, they could possibly have licenses, or they could have accounts, I should say. However, it's a little bit wonky with that. So we don't have any student accounts at all in Nearpod. We only have teacher accounts. Our students will join just how you guys joined this teacher lesson today. You either give them the direct link. It also can be pushed out to Google Classroom, or just give them the code to join. So there are a couple of different ways to have your students join your Nearpod lesson. But remember, we recommend teachers having their own accounts and then students receiving that code to join. When you're launching a Nearpod lesson, there are two different ways to launch it. So I love this option because it really allows you to meet the needs of all of your learners in your classroom. So you have the live lesson, and then you have your student-paced or self-paced lesson. So live lessons, what we're doing right now. We as the teachers and as the controllers of all things in the universe can control what you guys are doing right now. So you cannot go backwards or forwards. You cannot stay longer on a slide past how we would like you guys to stay. On the opposite side of the spectrum, you have student-paced. With student-paced, students have all of the control. So that would be really great for maybe a independent assignment, for your students that may have accommodations, who may need that differentiation in the classroom. You're able to give them that control, and they can stay longer on a slide, go backwards or forwards, or kind of control their own learning for that day. So you can, of course, relinquish multiple codes for both. So if you want to give your whole group a live lesson code, you can, and then give those few students that may need some extra time or may need to have another activity completed for themselves, you can also give them a student-paced code as well. So you can release more than one code across your whole entire class.
The classroom management piece, Dr. Haney kind of already talked about that. But when you log into Nearpod as a teacher, you'll see the number. So I like that it tracks. So I know how many students I should have in. So it tracks how many students there. And also it color codes it. You'll notice some of the students have a green dot next to their name and some have a red dot next to their name. If they have a green dot, that means they're active and they're actually in the Nearpod lesson. If they have a red dot, that means they may have left the lesson. So you would want to go check on that kid and say, hey, why are you not in my lesson? I'm getting ready to get started. So it holds them accountable for that. And also there, you can actually, if the kid checks out or you need to remove them for behavior problems, you can just click on the little X and remove them from your lesson. So I like that classroom management piece that they have there. So I can, as a teacher, quickly assess how many students have joined my lesson and try to figure out, maybe I need one kid needs help. It's there for me. So that's your classroom management piece. And then also she did talk about the show your student names. You can turn that on or off. I consider that part of my classroom management feature as well.
And then Nearpod Notes are really great for students. So let me show you guys how you can get to it. So teachers don't have that access, of course, because you're the facilitator of the lesson. However, students do receive that little notebook button on their right-hand side in the lesson, and they're able to then choose a method to save their notes. So while you're talking, while you're teaching, and they're learning, they can type notes that will stick with that specific slide. I know we've all been in a classroom before, or we've been at maybe a presentation or a PD, and you had maybe just the slides themselves, and you had to just take notes, and you forgot where those notes and which slide it may correspond to or it may align to. This keeps all your notes organized for you without having to figure out, okay, this one with that slide, this one with that slide. It keeps it all organized for the students. They can choose how they would like to receive their notes. So they can either choose to have it be sent via email. So if you have students that have email addresses in your district, they can receive those notes in their email account. You can have it saved to Google Drive if you're a Google district, or a Microsoft OneDrive if you're a Microsoft district. All right, Nearpod in the classroom. So these are a few ways you guys can use Nearpod in the classroom. If you're just joining us, the code to join the Nearpod lessons on the bottom of the screen. So you can just type in that code at nearpod.com if you would like to kind of interact with the lesson. But a few ways to actually use Nearpod in your classroom. Of course, you have morning meetings. You can do exit tickets, assessments, the note taking, centers. I have some teachers that use Nearpod lessons as like their weekly or monthly newsletter to their parents. Like you don't have any ends to how you can use Nearpod. You can use it in any kind of capacity within your classroom or your district. This is not a definitive list. It is only a recommendation. So these are a few ways to use Nearpod in your classroom. For my ELA folks out there, I'm a former ELA teacher. I love ELA. So here are a few ways you guys can use the actual Nearpod system with ELA. So one of my favorite features is the YouTube feature. We all have shown a YouTube video in our classroom before. And in the middle of the video, a commercial may pop up and all of your students get off task because the commercial may have just been something that was serious, but then they're silly. And if you taught elementary school, you know what I mean? So you don't have to worry about that with Nearpod. In Nearpod, I can embed any YouTube video in my lesson without the commercials. Like that is a game changer by itself. If you don't use any other feature in Nearpod, that YouTube feature is the bee's knees, in my opinion. And another great thing that they allow you to do, you can control how the audio plays. So on my screen, you guys will see a little button that says, this slide contains audio. It gives you the option to either have the audio go to every single child's device or only to your device. So we know right now we have a lot of schools that are still hybrid, or some schools may even still be virtual, or you may all be face-to-face. If all your kids are in your classroom face-to-face, you may not want it to go to all devices because if they don't have headphones, it's going to sound like popcorn going around the classroom. But in a hybrid situation or maybe a virtual situation, you may want to click all devices for them to have their own sound coming to their own screen. So you do have that option on your computer. I'm going to go ahead and just do all devices. And then the students can go ahead and hit play on their side. So this comes with any audio feature. So this one right here is a read aloud feature that I have embedded in this lesson. I took a screenshot of a reader that the littles may use in their classroom, and I recorded my voice over it. So I'm going to hit play so you guys can see what I mean. So I'm able to have the sound be played out loud for the students without me having to read it out loud, especially for my kiddos who are at home, virtual, and may not be able to hear me clearly through the Zoom meeting or the Google Meet or Microsoft Teams virtual meeting. So that's a really cool option for you in Nearpod. And then here's a YouTube video I was telling you guys about earlier. I can embed any YouTube video from the YouTube account into my lesson without those pesky commercials. So that is a game changer by itself. You hit play. And I can have this lady read out loud this book without me having to read it aloud to my kids myself. And then this next feature is the vocabulary feature. It's taking a second to load. But Nearpod does have a vocabulary partnership. So you can embed vocabulary videos into your Nearpod lesson. If your district, I'm going to go back and come back because it's taking a second to load. If your district or your school is a vocabulary school, you have unlimited access to all of the videos. However, if maybe y'all are not a vocabulary district or school site, you do get three vocabulary lessons that you're able to, videos you're able to log and to embed into your lesson without having to worry about going to the vocabulary website. You only get 3 per account. So once those 3 are used, that's kind of it. You have to go ahead and call it a day. But you do have that feature in here to easily embed those vocabulary videos. We all know and love vocabulary. If you don't know what vocabulary is, it's like a brain pop, but the hip hop version of it. It really teaches the kids really quick skills and lessons, but in a hip hop rap version. So it's a really great feature. And then the draw it feature. So in ELA and in other subject areas also, you may do a lot of annotation or worksheets, right? But it's COVID era still, right? We don't want to touch all this paper. And it's also just 2020. I want to leave the paper behind and transform my lessons into a more digital format. In Nearpod, I can embed or take a picture of any PDF and stick it on my backgrounds. And then up here, give my students some directions, as well as provide a video for reference if they need an extra piece of support. And then using the features down here, my students can use the text box feature, type in their answer, also their answer or their statement, move the text box where it needs to go. Same thing, do it again. So this is a flow chart pulled directly from LDOE's guidebook lesson for this specific novel. I can have them embed images. So in this novel, My Louisiana Sky, the main character lives in like a country setting area. So I can have the students embed pictures that correspond to what I'm talking about on the, it's kind of glitching out a little bit, but on the flow chart, they can embed those images. They can use the highlighter tool to highlight text. So if you want them to annotate something, they can annotate with these tools down here, or just use the draw tool to draw on the actual image or the PDF. Another really cool feature up here, you see that I have my directions up here. If you have a really large ESL population at your school or in your classroom, or just students that may need that extra accommodation, they have a built-in Microsoft Immersive Reader. Now, this is a game changer, you guys. I'm going to show you guys how it works. So whatever you have in this area up here for your directions, this little button over here, if I click on that, it will allow the students, so this is the student doing this, it will allow the students to hit play. And it will read aloud what is in that direction area or on the screen. So I'm able to have my students get that accommodation met at their own leisure. They can hit play, they can go back and start from the very beginning. And it also will define certain words in your direction set. So that is also an option also. I love this other feature up here. So I get some extra options. I can change my text size. So for my kiddos who are blind like me, they can make it larger, increase the spacing, the background color. They can specify their syllables to kind of chunk up the text, identify nouns, verbs. But this part, for my ESL learners, it will translate the entire document for those learners and read it aloud in that language. That is a game changer. I know we've all had an ESL learner, maybe level 1, level 2, who may still be struggling with understanding what's going on in the classroom. They're brilliant, but it's the language barrier, right? That needs, and they need that accommodation or that support system in place. It is here, right here in Nearpod. So whatever's in my little directions area is right there for my kids to go ahead and translate for themselves. And it keeps the original version still there. So they're able to see which words are corresponding together. Organize is organise. I know I said that incorrectly, but that's what it is. So they can hit play and it tracks it for them, which I love that part, as well as it will translate the entire document for them. So I love that feature. And then my second favorite feature, I have a lot of favorite features in Nearpod, is the field trip feature. So we all cannot, I think field trips are locked down for the entire state. I know in EBR, we can't go anywhere at all right now. So without having to, oh man, my favorite field trip of going to the state capitol to compare and contrast how it was in the book to the actual real life thing is not out of the way anymore. You can still do that in Nearpod. So Nearpod allows you to take your kids on virtual field trips to literally anywhere in the world, including Mars outside of the world. So you can take them to Mars if you're a science teacher. You can have them go downtown, Baton Rouge, to Paris, France, Hawaii, Alaska. Whatever you're studying, you can have them go to it. If you're maybe a kindergarten teacher or a preschool teacher and you want them to learn about the farm, you can have them go to the farm and see the different animals. If you're a physics teacher and you want them to go and see MIT, the actual university. You can take them to MIT virtually. So it's a really great feature that's in here already embedded for the students to use, and you can have them use with you as well. And then I can push out any website. So remember, right now we are in a live lesson. I control the pace of the lesson. So I can push out any website without having to waste precious instructional time. I know as a classroom teacher, I taught 5th grade. They could not spell brain for nothing. I don't know what it was. They would spell brain like Brian. So I would tell them to go to Brain Pop, but then they'll go to Brian Pop. They'll go to Brain Pop, brainpop.net. They will go to all other kind of places like that. So I don't have to worry about wasting instructional time. They can go right here. I can push it out to them, and they're already there. And whenever I'm ready to move on, we all move on together. And the last feature I'm going to talk about is the open-ended question response. So it's right here. I can ask my kids a question up here. And remember, I have that little immersive reader feature up here for it to have the question read aloud to the students. And then they can respond on their side. As a teacher, I see every student's screen, a little mini version of it, and I can see their answers. So as they're typing in their answers, it will start populating, and I can see their participation continues to grow as I get answers turned into me.
Also, Dr. Henny, with that, I want to say with that, they also have the feature that the students, if they're struggling with typing, they can add that the teacher can turn on the record their answer feature. So if they're young, they're too little, like pre-K, kindergarten, 1st grade, they're struggling with typing, they can record their answer as well. So I love that update that Nearpod added.
Updating all the time. So if you see something that you may not, that you may want to kind of fix or update, or you want to recommend something, Nearpod, if I have to say, they're probably my favorite company to work with. They're very, very receptive. They want to hear our feedback because we're the feet in the schools, on the grounds, working with students every single day. So they're very receptive, and they're always coming out with updates to different features or just brand new features in general. So they're really, really receptive. All right, we're going to go ahead and talk about math.
I'm a math teacher. I love math. Some features that you would use in Nearpod for math is the Draw It feature, of course, your quizzes, your slideshow, your web share, of course, share those websites, but the PhET simulations. So I'm going to look at some of those features today. This right here is an interactive video, and this is another feature. Nearpod is just coming up with all these different features, and unfortunately, the sound is not working, but that's okay. But if you've ever done Ed Puzzle, you can make your own interactive video and hold those kids accountable for those videos. So at certain points, you can find those videos on YouTube, and you can insert questions that you wouldn't ask your kids face to face or whatever, build them into your lesson. And now you're making those interactive videos like Ed Puzzle. So if you ever use Ed Puzzle, they now have that kind of feature built in here in Nearpod. So I love that upgrade. I definitely utilize that a lot. You can see right here, one of my students answered. That's what I don't remember. So you can see every time there's a little circle there, the video will pause, and the teacher can ask a multiple choice question, an open-ended question. So you're getting that engagement. And if the teacher is pre-recording their lessons, this is perfect. You can ask those questions that you would ask in your whole group. So I definitely love that video feature that Nearpod's added. This is probably my favorite feature too. I can't lie. If you've ever played Kahoot, this is very similar to Kahoot. So we're going to play this game. And the kids love it. They'll beg to play this game. It's great for exit tickets. If you want to do a test review, just change up how you're giving your assessments. They only have 4 themes, but they always change the themes out. And I like the nice music that plays. And as a teacher, you can set how long you want to give the kids, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds to answer the questions. They come in here and pick their little avatars. And look how cute, the little penguin dressed in a little Christmas outfit. So they can come in here, and the teacher will see as the kids are selecting their avatars, they'll start popping in the room, and the kids just get so excited and amped up to play because our kids are competitive. They're gamers. So this is how we engage them, and this is how they learn, unfortunately. So meet them where they are. So nobody else wants to play with me? I'm mad about that. Okay. So we'll show you how it works. So this one has 6 questions and the students have a few seconds to answer the question, which image shows 3/4. So you want to answer the question as quick as you can. The quicker you answer, the more points you get. So, and then it'll pop on to the next question. And so here it is, counting you down. Which image shows 1/2? Answer it as quick as you can. Quick as you can. That's the more points you get. All right, we have a competition. Which image shows 1/4? And our kids, I promise you, the kids love playing this. So this is a great way to review with your students and just have fun. Change up the environment of your classroom instead of just doing all those boring paper and pencil activities. Oh, it's getting Miss Ashley Como. You have a strong. Oh, Angelica came out of nowhere with the lead. All right, last question. Answer it as quick as you can. Somebody can take the lead from Angelica. All right. And then it's to teach your kids about sportsmanship. Everybody's a winner. Everybody can't win. We all won. It's a great way to review. So you guys, let me know in the chat. How did you like that? Do you think your kids will enjoy playing that? Let us know in the chat. And while you're doing that, just look at PhET simulations. I love PhET simulations. And it's nothing you need to do on the teacher's end. It's differentiated. So you can see here they have the different levels. So based off what level the student is on, then you can send them to whatever level. And this gives immediate feedback. So if I go to level 1 here for my students that may need, they may need to start from the beginning. They're my struggling group. Then they'll be able to go here and they'll see that, and it'll walk them through, it'll take them through baby steps on how to do it. And they want to get equivalent fractions. And you see that immediate feedback it gives them. So it literally simulates what you're teaching them in math. And it's nothing you need to do on the teacher's end, but select the simulation that you want to put in your lesson. So it's nothing you have to prepare on your end. So it's definitely a great way to have your students practice and try to work their way through the different skills so that they can make it all the way up to the top. So definitely check out the PhET simulations. But like I said, I love it more for science, but I'm not going to say anything. So, you know, it for math, especially if you're doing your Eureka math, your Eureka teacher, you need those manipulatives. But we are scared to give these kids these manipulatives because we don't want them touching on all this stuff and sharing things. Virtual manipulatives are a must right now. And this is my favorite site for virtual manipulatives. It's called didx.com. And I love these virtual manipulatives that they have. So I like to utilize them and embed them into my Nearpod lessons so that my students can utilize this and model the math, because it's important that they still get that hands-on concrete learning that they need during math lesson. And this is perfect for them to do that. So definitely check out didx.com if you have not. So you can see we have all of that embedded into our site. We're not going to ever leave Nearpod. Everything you need in one spot. So I love it. And this is another one of my favorite features. I'm just going to say it's the collaboration board. And here, as a teacher, you know, they're going to give you options. You can decide now, if you trust your kids, you do not have to approve their posts. But if you have some little tricksters in your class, then you're going to hit yes. But if you have some angels and they're not going to try you because they know who you are by now, they're not going to try you, then you can hit no. So the teacher can approve their messages. But here we have a would you rather for math. I used to love doing this with my students just to get them talking and using vocabulary and thinking here. So I want you guys to respond on my collaboration board. Can you respond, would you rather A or B, and tell us why and post it? And you can see this is going to be a real-time board. So as the students start posting things here on the board, the teacher will see it in real time and so would you. You'll see it on your screen as well. So it's a real-time collaboration board. This is great for discussions, and everybody's going to have a voice. Everybody. I want everybody to respond. So certain students, I won't get that same student responding. This is going to force all of my students to respond and participate in the discussion. So I love doing this. And then you can see here, you can show love. So I used to tell my students, hey, if you agree with one of your classmates' opinion, or go ahead and click on the heart, give them some love to show that you agree or you like what they said. So the kids love this as well. Like I said, it's great for discussion. Doesn't matter what you're teaching or doing. This is my go-to for discussion so that everybody can see what everybody said. And as you can see here, you don't have to show the names. You can take the names off. If you want to protect their privacy and not show their names, you definitely can. So I love the Collaborate board. I hope you guys do too as well. This is Dr. Haney's probably not favorite feature, but I like it. It does give immediate feedback. So here for the teacher, you can create fill in the blanks here for your students. And you can see down here, it gives you a little word bank. The teacher chooses what words or numbers are in the word bank. And the students just simply come here and they drag and drop the responses to the correct blank. And when you hit done, that's the part that I like the best. You know, our kids, a lot of them, they want immediate feedback. So it does provide the students with immediate feedback. So you can use this as an assessment. This is a way to assess. And one thing you should notice about Nearpod, we are constantly assessing our kids on these activities that we're doing. They don't know we're assessing them, but I'm assessing what's going on. So it's a great immediate feedback and assessment tool built in Nearpod. It's a hidden secret. I like it.
All right. So for social studies, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping up. So a lot of the things that you guys saw in ELA and in math can be used for social studies. However, there are a few different things that I want to kind of bring out and mention. So the slideshow feature, y'all saw this earlier when Nikki was talking about how you can use Nearpod with your students. I can take those really beautiful primary and secondary artifacts that the scope and sequence or that your curriculum may provide and place it into a slideshow and have my kids do a virtual gallery walk. I used to love having my kids walk around my classroom and do a virtual gallery walk in little small teams and do a notice and wonder. That's kind of hard nowadays because you may have some kids who are at home still, who are hybrid, or just because of the close proximity. So you can still have them do that through Nearpod. And then, of course, you also have the Sway. So Microsoft Sways are already created little kind of mini presentations that you guys can show your students. They don't have all of the topics, so you do have to kind of be mindful of that, but they do have some really great topics you guys can use with your students. So the more I scroll, the more the actual student will see. So they always come with some flashcards on there. And this is on World War II, as well as some influential characters. And these are already created. I tell teachers all the time, however, be mindful because there is not a grade level tied to the Microsoft Sways that are created by Nearpod. They're very generic. So yeah, you may be talking about amphibians in your third grade classroom, but it may be geared more towards a biology class in high school. So kind of just be mindful of that. Some of the words or the vocabulary used may kind of go over your kids' heads based on the grade level. But I love the Sways. They're already created. And then, of course, you have the quiz feature. So you can do a formal quiz in Nearpod, and it will assess the students and save the work for you. In the quiz feature, you can only ask multiple choice, select all that apply, or true-false questions. You can't be really fancy and do drag and drop or any of those kind of type of questions, but you can ask, I should say, very basic generic questions. All right, science.
All right, we're going to take this 1 minute and go through. They do have the PDF viewer, so we're using PDFs more now virtually, so you can easily add your PDFs. They look wonderful here. So that's a feature, one of the features that you can do for your science. We have the matching pairs. The kids love this feature. It's great for vocabulary. The students will get to learn their vocabulary. practice it. And like I said, it provides immediate feedback. I like that a lot of the things in Nearpod gives that immediate feedback to the teacher and to the students so that they know how they did. And they can go and study and, get themselves together. So you can see how if you get it wrong, it's going to give you 2 red X's. And if you get it right, 2 green checks. And you can keep going until the timer goes off. So the kids, this is another favorite. And there's a timer. So you put that timer on there to gamify it and let the students work under pressure. Because, when they take those LEAP tests, it's timed. So using these things in Nearpod really prepares our students for the LEAP 2025, those major assessments that they have to take. I found that it really prepared my students and they weren't stressed taking those assessments. And this is my favorite feature, the 3D feature. So you can bring whatever to your classroom now that you need. You don't have to worry about trying to find it. Everything is here. The kids can zoom in, zoom out to explore their science. So you can bring it right here in your class. So it changes the game. Instead of just looking at a regular image on your paper, I can't bring that to life. So check out the 3D feature and then the PhET simulations for science. Do those science experiments right here in Nearpod. So you remember your teacher used to bring that wool and those rubber and the balloons and you used to do that static electricity activity. Now you can do it here virtually and stay safe. You don't have to worry about kids touching the other things. Everybody can do this on their own computer and they can still have those wonderful experiments that they would do normally in groups and sharing those materials. So definitely check out the PhET simulations for science.
And just to let you guys know that they do have reports. So all the things that your students are doing in the Nearpod lesson, it is being stored. So it's not like they're just doing work and you're never going to be able to actually review and provide grades or feedback to them. So for every single lesson that you launch with your students, it gives you a full class report. So you can see all your kids and what they submitted to you, as well as an individualized report. So maybe Bobby has not been doing your Nearpod lessons and you want to have a conference with mom or dad. You can go ahead and pull his report for that specific lesson, and it gives you a really beautiful, colorful, interactive report for you to show that parent or guardian. Okay, are there any questions at all? That was a lot to cover in a small amount of time. Our email addresses are on the screen. You guys can always reach out to me as Glasper1 at ebrschools.org, and then Nikki is in Washington 1 at ebrschools.org. We're going to hang around for another couple of minutes, but if you guys don't have any questions or any concerns, you can go ahead and put it in the chat box. Let us know. If not, have a blessed day, stay safe, and have a great weekend.
Thanks for joining us, guys. See you at another presentation, maybe. That was the 3D feature in Nearpod. The human body will be found under the 3D feature. I love it. And you can zoom in and actually look inside of the human body to see the veins and all of that yucky stuff is all in there. So I love it. Thank you, Miss Kelly. Glad you enjoyed.
All right, you guys want to go ahead and log off. This has been recorded. So if you want to come back and review the presentation again or the session again, just come right back to this link that Dr. Seneca sent out to everyone where you actually came to join us here. It will be at this exact link forever and ever. So if y'all have any questions, our email addresses are on the screen. Please reach out. If not, have a wonderful, blessed day. Bye, you guys.